scholar Ian Samuel with us now. Can you explain this other than to say, I'll back up and ask it in the form of a question. If Kyrie Irving had said something equally despicable or tweeted a movie that was equally disparaging about another group, would he be treated the same way?
No, I don't think that he would. And I think that the question you've got to ask yourself is, would that different treatment that he'd be receiving if he were tweeting, let's say, racist conspiracy theories about, some other group of people,
or homophobic slurs, or whatever it is.
Or right, whatever, any other form of bigotry, because that's what this is. If he were engaged in any other form of bigotry, I think he would be receiving much worse treatment. There have been players suspended for a lot less than this. There was a player suspended last year. I can't remember the name of the player, but for saying stuff on Call of Duty while he was playing video games at his house. Right. So, and I think that's appropriate. Right. I think that these are, the kinds of public sports stars that the league wants to hold to a high standard, and they want to have a league that is visibly associated with the value of anti-bigotry. And I think that's great. That's the values that I hold. I don't think it's appropriate for Kyrie to be sort of getting off weirdly easy with this, especially since it is such an outrageously strange form of bigotry, too. I mean, the Black Hebrew Israelites are really a weird bunch of characters, and that's a really strange documentary.
They're violent too. I guess this is what is confusing to me a little bit, which is the NBA, obviously, when their business interests are involved, you think Enes Kanter Freedom speaks out against China, and they shut that down very quickly. A NBA GM talked about Hong Kong, and he was forced to apologize. Kyrie Irving, not so much. The Nets, Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie, to promote education within our community, Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets will each donate $500,000 towards causes and organizations that work to eradicate hate and intolerance in communities. Kyrie, I impose all forms of hatred and oppression and stand strong with communities that are marginalized and impacted every day. I'm aware of the negative impact of my post towards Jewish communities, and I take responsibility, which, if you take responsibility and you don't say, I'm sorry, and I retract it, and then you double down on it in a soundbite earlier today, it kind of shows that you really believe this, right?
Or it at least shows, and I think this is probably more likely, that you are willing to belligerently refuse to apologize to make some kind of point, right? I don't think that Kyrie has probably studied the claims of this movie or the book that it's based on very carefully. I can't say that I have. I think that he's being, probably he's being a little bit provocative. And now what he's doing is he's being a jerk. And he's trying to demonstrate that he's above this. He doesn't have to be held accountable. He doesn't have to say that he's sorry because he's sort of above the rules in this respect. It sort of speaks to his personal character. I really have a hard time believing that he, sincerely subscribes to the extraordinarily strange specific claims here.
Well, he's a guy, to be fair to Kyrie, okay, he's a guy who believes the Earth's flat, and he was also the one who became a hero on the right for his anti-COVID stance. So
I was going to mention that too. He has a history of weird beliefs.
Yeah, he does. So here's Adam Silver, who's the NBA commissioner. Kyrie Irving made a reckless decision to post a link to a film containing deeply offensive anti-Semitic material. While we appreciate the fact that he has agreed to work with the Brooklyn Nets and the Anti-Defamation League to combat anti-Semitism and other forms of discrimination, I am disappointed that he has not offered an unqualified apology and more specifically denounced the vile and harmful content contained in the film he chose to publicize. It's one thing for Adam Silver to not stand up to Kyrie and, as you point, sort of to allow him to thumb his nose at everybody. But from not even a legal perspective, but just from PR perspective, how is it now not open season for every NBA player? If you're not going to discipline Kyrie Irving, the next guy you try to discipline goes, well, you didn't do anything to Kyrie. I should be able to say whatever obnoxious things I want.
Yeah, I genuinely wonder if, and I don't know a lot about how NBA league discipline works under their collective bargaining agreement, but I genuinely wonder that if they have an inconsistently applied set of rules, if they're going to face sort of challenges in like labor disputes and things like that, if they try to apply the rules to other players and they haven't applied them to Kyrie, are they going to have players whose union representatives basically say, well, you're not applying the rules in a sort of even-handed way, and that's a problem for some reason? It's very strange, and obviously Silver isn't that disappointed that Kyrie didn't apologize because he didn't suspend him or anything. And again, players have been suspended for a lot less.
Yeah,
and I understand he's Kyrie Irving, but he's no.
Well, he's not Michael Jordan or LeBron. Come on. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.